Am I the asshole for not sharing my grandmother's inheritance with my father? When I was 13 years old, my mother found out my father was having an affair and he got the other woman pregnant. After this came out, my father confessed he was in love with the other woman and wanted to leave my mother. She obviously heartbroken and didn't know what to do. We had moved to a new state with my father for work, so she had no family around. My father dropped us like a bad habit soon after this came out. He attempted to keep a relationship with me, but ultimately his new family was his priority, as he said. Tough to understand for a 13-year-old, but whatever. If he didn't want me, I wasn't going to need him, so my mother and I moved on. But the only way we were able to move on was with the help of my grandmother. My father's mother's. She always loved us and was appalled with what her son had done to us. He stopped seeing her as well for the most part. We became very close over the years, seeing each other for special occasions and holidays while her son was nowhere to be found. She even helped my mom out monetarily when we needed it too. Unfortunately, the years caught up with her and she developed colon cancer. Advanced late stage. Her decline was rapid. Within a few months she was in hospice. Days before she passed, she asked me to call her son to come see her as she knew her time was coming. He'd only been to see her a couple times since she had gotten sick. When he came by, I was visiting as we did every few days, and he acted like I was some random person. Grandma asked him to come back tomorrow, but he said he'd be back in a few days. She passed 4 days later without him coming back despite my calls and texts to come. She went peacefully with me and my mom by her side. That was hard. I miss her every day. She was my guardian angel most of my life, and I know she continues to watch over me. After the services, where my father did show up and made a big scene and made it about himself, we were contacted by her lawyer. Unbeknownst to everybody, she left me her house and a good amount of money. $200,000. No idea she did that, but in the will, there was a note to me from her that said, "You are worth it. Love, Grandma. She's amazing." Also in her will, she left my father exactly $1 as his inheritance. When he found out, he went ballistic. Blowing up my phone all the time. Demanding I give him his house and his money. His new wife and his son were messaging me a lot, and his son was writing on social media that I manipulated my grandmother. My father apologized and said he was under a lot of stress because he's in debt and was banking on this money to come in for bills and to send his son to college. That made me feel bad. Like maybe I should give him something. I've thought about it a lot and I don't think I'm going to share anything with him, and I kind of think that makes me an asshole because it seems like they really do need it. But on the other hand, fuck him. I don't know. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. The reason she left him $1 was to make it clear to the court in case he tried to challenge the will, that she hadn't forgotten to include him, but that she intended to disinherit him. She knew that her son would try to take the money she left you. It is very common practice to leave $1 when disinheriting someone. Respect your grandmother's wishes and don't give your father a dime. The other hand is right. Not the asshole. Your grandma intentionally left him $1 so he couldn't contest the will with, "She wasn't in her right mind, she forgot about me." She wanted you to inherit. Honor your grandmother's wishes, and FTG. Not the asshole. Do not give him a dime. Your grandma knew what she was doing. Trust in her wisdom. And #X200B. Edit to add this. Please tell the lawyer that is handling the estate, there probably is one, what your father and his family have said to you. Your grandma's lawyer is there to ensure that what she wanted goes, and they need to know any pressure you are under. Not the asshole. Your grandma knew exactly what she was doing. That $1 is so that your father got something and cannot contest in court that he did not receive anything. He is entitled for relying on the possibility of inheritance as an excuse for him to not have proper financial responsibility. Do not give your father any money. Nor his replacement family. He's in debt? That's his own doing, and it's not because he gave any support to you. Not the asshole. I'm sorry for the loss of your guardian angel. Heartbreak. Not the asshole. I think you might want to consider helping out your dad, though. Double his inheritance, give him exactly $1 more. Better yet, send him a check for that amount. Not the asshole. Grandma left very clear wishes. Not your fault dad screwed up big time with her, your whole family. Listen to your grandma, you're worth it. Don't let him and his family manipulate you. Banking on your mother to die so you can send your son to college is an asshole move. Block him and his family so they can stop harassing you about this. And best of luck in your grief process. Sorry for your loss. Edit. Spelling. NTA The reason your grandma gave him exactly $1 is so that he couldn't contest it. She did not want him to gain anything from her passing. She knew what she was doing. Honor her wishes. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my daughter's boyfriend's meal? I'm a mother of a 24-year-old daughter, Christine. Christine moved back to our hometown after obtaining her college degree and met her current boyfriend Simon, 30. I'm not a big fan of Simon, but we're civil enough to be around each other. The other day I called Christine to invite her for lunch and she agreed to come. Unbeknownst to me, she brought Simon with her. I was slightly bothered, but only since I was looking for an ordinary mother-daughter lunch to catch up with stuff. I welcomed her and Simon, and as far as ordering food, I ordered the usual for Christine, but Simon went over the menu and picked many stuff, including a drink. Now this didn't bother me because I figured that he would be paying for this stuff, but apparently, this was not the case. The bill came and I told Simon and Christine that I was only paying for myself and Christine. Simon asked why was that, and I told him because I didn't invite him. He let out a loud, "Come on now." What? And Christine asked if I was serious. I told her yes because I only invited her, didn't I? She said that I was being rude and unwelcoming to Simon after he took the time to drop what he was doing and come join us, but I frankly told her this wasn't what I planned. She got offended and said they're both one and I should either pay for both of them or not pay at all. I told her this was not fair to both her and I, but she said no, this was unfair to Simon. I asked if he had money to pay and he shook his head, no. I apologized and still stuck to paying for myself and Christine, but she refused to let me, saying I either pay for both or not pay at all. I asked if that is what she really wanted and she nodded. I said okay then, paid for myself and left. Clearly Christine had no money as well and they had to wait for a friend to pay for them at the restaurant, and Christine was upset about that. She called me and said that I not only disrespected Simon and made him feel unwelcome, but I also bailed on them by only paying for myself and leaving them stuck in a horrible situation begging a friend for help. She said she's hurt, Simon's hurt, and they expect an apology and the money their friend paid since it's a debt they need to return now. I told her it was her doing for bringing uninvited person with her, then insisting that I pay fought them both or not pay at all. She argued that I was trying to avoid responsibility and should make it up to them if I care about our relationship, but I said it won't happen because I don't owe them anything. Things got worse between us. Now I'm thinking I might have caused this by not paying for both of them. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Stick to your guns. He was unwelcome because he wasn't invited. Who doesn't bring their wallet when they weren't even invited? Not the asshole. You didn't invite the boyfriend and your daughter was rude for inviting him without letting you know first. Also, how is a 30-year-old and a 24-year-old going out without bringing their wallets? And to basically blame you for embarrassing them when all you wanted was a nice lunch with your daughter. Not the asshole. It's never okay to bring a +1 without a heads up, and it's downright rude when the plan involves the other person paying. Also, what competent adult goes around with zero money on them? Edit. It's funny how none of the people saying, ESH, considers the possibility of the daughter offering to pay up later. If the daughter had said so, and if Simon had stuck to a frugal order, I might have seen your point, but I think it's important that Op teaches her child that she's not her ATM, since apparently the daughter struggles with that. Not the asshole. What kind of person doesn't bring along money and assumes their mother will pay for their partner that wasn't invited? Info. You ordered for your daughter, why? She should not have sprung someone extra on you without checking. He should not have ordered without having the, perhaps awkward, conversation about who was paying. You should not have watched him order without the same conversation, like, any talk about separate bills? And finally, as a parent, if you are in any way able to pay, you should have sucked it up, paid, and talked to your daughter after the fact to let her know that you paid because you love her and didn't want to cause discord. But please don't spring surprise guests on you again. Instead, you set the stage for bad feelings, especially if Simon becomes a long-term fixture in the family. A little generosity wouldn't have killed you. You're the parent. Give your kid some grace. Not the asshole. Bringing people to lunch dates who were not invited could also be considered quite rude. Expecting someone else to pay for that extra person without talking to them first is extremely rude. Not bringing any money cause you actually take for granted that you can do that is rude. Your daughter and her boyfriend were entitled, rude, and are in this situation because they didn't expect you to put your foot down. Whenever I go out with my mum I offer to pay my share. If she's driving me somewhere I offer her gas money. 'Cause I don't take her time and money for granted. Nor should your daughter. Not the asshole. What 30-year-old expects his girlfriend's mom to buy him lunch? Uninvited, no less. Am I the asshole for demanding my fiancé pay me back for selling my train collection? I, 28F, lived with my aunt and uncle as my parents could not raise me. My uncle started collecting trains as a hobby when he was working as an engineer. I took a huge interest in them as a child and teenager. My uncle gave me his entire train collection when he became sick. When I turned 19, I moved out and found a nice apartment near my college. I brought the collection with me. Some of my friends thought it was cool, others find it weird. I met my boyfriend in college and he moved in with me after we graduated. We got engaged last year and are currently struggling with debt, student loans and the wedding. My fiancé asked if we could have an expert come into the apartment and price the train collection. I was against the idea and told him that I would not sell the collection as it was a large memory of my uncle. My best friend got engaged this past weekend and a few of us went to celebrate at her parents' lake house. I was gone for 2 nights and when I returned, the train collection was completely gone. My fiancé came running over saying that a collector came and gave him a decent price for the set. I started crying and yelling at him that he destroyed my trust and told him to leave the apartment. He left without protest and has been staying with his parents. I told him that he had to pay me back all the money. I did threaten to sue him as well. His parents are trying to argue that he was only doing what was best for the both of us. Am I the asshole for demanding my fiancé pay me back for selling my train collection? Not the asshole. Your fiancé stole and sold the train collection without your consent. Please go back to that collector and explain the situation. File a police report and sue your fiancé for grand theft. And please break up with him because he completely betrayed your trust. You cannot get married to someone who has no respect for you. What an awful man. NTA. Demand he give you the name of the collector so you can contact them and let them know the collection was stolen and they need to return it. Let them know they will get their money back. Tell him if he doesn't give the money and contact information for the collector you will involve the police. Do the same if the collector refuses to return them. Tell them they are in possession of stolen property and you will involve the police if necessary. This is not a man you want to marry, as painful as it is. He violated your trust, stole from you and took away a family heirloom. He has no respect for you or your feelings. You need to end the relationship before he does something worse. Not the asshole. The collection wasn't his to sell, bottom line. I really hope he is your ex-fiancé now, because it's very clear that he neither respects you nor your boundaries, and doesn't seem to care about what is important to you, either. And #X200B. Sue him for the train set. It's the best thing for both of you. Not the asshole. And I think you mean ex-fiancé. This man literally stole from you. I would file a police report and attempt to contact the collector to let him know that he purchased a stolen set and it needs to be returned. If you can't get it back, absolutely sue him. And not for what it sold for, but for what it is worth, because I guarantee you that collector took advantage of the fact that you never actually had it priced. Someone else has said this, but just so you see it, what happened to you was theft. This is a police matter. Your fiancé robbed you and the man who bought them is in possession of stolen goods. That was not community property and you are not married. You will get it back by reporting the theft. He gets it back himself or you call the police and either way you're getting it back, end of story. Not the asshole. Everyone saying to contact the collector and tell him the items were stolen is absolutely correct. Your fiancé has no respect for you or your feelings. Time to end this relationship. Have him charged with theft. It may be possible to get your trains back, but you'll need to get on it quickly. File a police report right now. Info: why are you referring to him as your fiancé still instead of your ex? Am I the asshole for sending someone's fiancé the lewd and insulting messages he sent me? Edit: I just want to clarify that none of these mutual friends are people who I'm currently close friends with. They are people we both went to college with, so I have known them for years, but they aren't people who I regularly hang out with now. I assume they are better friends with him. I don't actually know who he is still friends with, but he clearly told them about it, so I'm assuming anyway. My phone number hasn't changed since 2002, so it wouldn't be hard to track my number down from a mutual friend or acquaintance. Also, there is no other information, there is no nefarious backstory, and there's nothing I'm leaving out. I have literally no idea why he sent me unsolicited messages after almost 20 years. And for those of you who are sending me messages accusing me of giving him an STD, trying to slut-shame me, and saying I don't deserve to be a wife and mother, I hope you get stuck in the bowels of hell where you do nothing except listen to Baby Shark on loop while dragging a screaming toddler up a never-ending sledding hill. I, 37F, was somewhat wild in college, as in I slept with multiple guys and partied, but I didn't ever do anything illegal, dangerous, or immoral. I'm now happily married with 2 kids and have no regrets about my fun times while in college. A few months ago, some guy the first hadn't talked to since I was 18 and a freshman in college sent me messages on social media in the middle of the night that were horrible. It was basically a drunk rant about how I was a huge whore. I spread my legs for anyone. How I loved doing sexually explicit things with him, etc. I immediately blocked him and ignored them. I recently saw a post from his now fiancée, who I used to be friends with in college, but haven't talked to in years, announcing their engagement and gushing about how he's the kindest, most gentle, wonderful guy in the world. I was pissed that he was pretending to be some great guy while sexually harassing me in his spare time. So I forwarded her all the messages he had sent me. He contacted me, got my number from mutual friends, freaking out. Told me I was insane and jealous of his fiancée. I didn't think I did anything wrong, but our mutual friends are all on his side and said it was crazy for me to contact his fiancée who I hadn't spoken with in over a decade over some drunk messages he claims didn't even remember sending me. A few even he had only told the truth, since I had slept around in college. Now I'm wondering if I overstepped by sending these messages to his fiancée. Not the asshole. He came into your inbox with zero provocation spewing misogynistic abuse, he can deal with the fallout. On top of that, his fiancée deserves to know who exactly she's about to marry. Interesting how he's apparently mad that you loved doing sexually explicit things with him when he was also engaged in doing those exact same things. Fascinating, no? P.S. Time to drop the friends who agreed with him, and thank them for showing you who they really are. Not the asshole. If I were his fiancée I'd want to know. How you behaved in college was irrelevant. He chose to harass you, drunk or not. That's a red flag, drunk or not. Not the asshole. 1. He freaking sexually harassed you. If he didn't want to be called out on being a sleazeball, maybe he shouldn't be a sleazeball. 2. If I were her, I'd want to know. My ex-husband portrayed himself as someone very different when we were dating, but once we were married, the mask fell off. I wish I had had someone to give me a heads up. 3. Dump the mutual friends. If they're on his side then they think his actions, sexual harassment, remember, are acceptable. With friends like those, who needs enemies, as they say. Not the asshole the guy sexually harassed you years later for no reason. Your friends are supporting and protecting him. Those friends are not your friends. You did nothing wrong. Not the asshole. 1. I'd probably thank you for showing me his true side if I were his fiancée. She's lucky someone had the balls to show her a side he's obviously hidden from her. 2. Your mutual friends that gave him your number are not your friends. 3. Those friends that are taking his side and telling you you're wrong are not your friends. Cut them out because life is too short for keeping shitty people in your life based on a few good memories from the past. 4. Your past is irrelevant here. Sorry that ass clown felt that he could speak to you like that. Regardless of your past. And regardless of his sobriety. He's a coward and a bad person. Be proud of your sexuality and the fact that you have no regrets about your past. Not the asshole. You do not get to sexual harass people and expect no consequences. His fiancée deserved to know what sort of garbage she was marrying. Hopefully she has called off the wedding. Not the asshole. You are under no obligation to keep someone's misdeeds secret, especially when they are directed at you. Hell, you could have posted it all publicly, names and all. I'm a big fan of name and shame. I wonder if the friends have seen the messages. If they have and are still pretending you are somehow in the wrong, they aren't worth being friends with anyway. If telling the truth is a good enough excuse for him, then it should be good enough for you to tell the truth as well. Make those receipts public. Then turn your phone off and enjoy your day while they deal with it. Not the asshole. Almost 20 years later, this guy contacts you out of nowhere insulting you and recounting sexual stuff you all did. A former friend who you are FB friends with announcing an engagement to said guy gushing over how amazing he is. You reach out to her privately forwarding the messages and you are the bad person? You are not jealous of his fiancée. You were trying to show her how he was acting a few months before he proposed. Fiancée either already knows there are issues and wants to ignore them, or actually opening her eyes.